Brrr, it's here, drum roll time. Leon, welcome to the show, man. How are you feeling today?
Doing great, Brett. It's an honor to be on the podcast with you.
Oh, it's so cool. I've got really a lot of things that we could talk about that are completely off topic, but we want to stick to topic here a little bit. Let's jump right into it, Leon. Tell us a little bit about your medical journey.
Yeah, so I'm an emergency physician and entrepreneur. My intended medical journey was in emergency department, emergency medicine practice, and hospital leadership. And so I worked my way up the up the chain, assistant medical director, and then through some kind of medical economics learning lessons that we can talk about later, I ended up jumping into entrepreneurship. Started a marketplace software company to help emergency physicians find jobs. And now I'm kind of a little bit of everything. So I still practice clinically, run the software company, and still involved with kind of some of the administrative side of emergency medicine.
And this economical learning lesson that you just mentioned, and now you've got this new platform, the software company you talk about is called Ivy Clinicians. And interesting enough, I'm putting these two things together and almost like it was developed out of need there in your, what sounds like maybe a change in jobs. Is that kind of how that came about?
Yeah, so the the best entrepreneurial ideas are solving your own and your friends' problems. And so one of the kind of big picture problems that has come up in emergency medicine, but in a lot of specialties, is that the rapid change from medical practices, so physician-owned medical practices, where your goal is to like find one partnership and hold on for dear life, right? Like things get better over time. You're a partner. The decisions get made partly by you and your peers. The finances accrue to you and your peers, and things get better over time. Well, that rapidly changed for emergency medicine, but also for most physicians, to an employed model. And in a world of employment, the way that you can protect yourself as an employee is by being willing to change jobs and being on the job market. Well, the job market in emergency medicine wasn't very transparent, and it was really hard to navigate, to the point where it was hard even to figure out which emergency medicine practice staffed which emergency department. So if you're a resident and you're moving, say you trained in Boston and you're moving to South Carolina, like just figuring out who your basket of potential employers are, and what the differentiators are, much less like who to apply to, was really difficult. And so Ivy Clinicians was built, or is built, to solve that problem. So to bring transparency and real competition to the emergency medicine job market. For Zillow, the way that you as a house buyer or a real estate person on the real estate market would navigate that job market, or navigate the real estate market, is trusting a third-party professional. And why did you need to trust a third-party professional? It's because the information was hidden from you, right? So if somebody put a house on the market through their sell-side realtor, went on the MLS, well, normal people, like most physicians, couldn't get access to the MLS. You wouldn't really know what's on the market and what a fair value is, and how to compare various buying options. And so you needed a realtor. And not only did you need a realtor, you need to pay them a lot of money, because you need a good realtor who really could understand that job market. Well, Zillow came along and they were like, this is silly. Like this is all public information. If we can bring all of that information together, now we can empower the actual buyer to understand, hey, what's the fair market for this piece of real estate? What are my basket of potential units that I could potentially bid for and purchase? And so So the real estate market became a lot more transparent, a lot more competitive, and a lot better for those of us who want to directly navigate that market. Well, same thing with the physician job market, right? So if you don't have the information, now you need to pay a bunch of middlemen, Jackson Physician Search, or whatever the third party hiring entity is, and those entities, their job is basically to extract money between a transaction that's supposed to be between you, the physician, and the direct employer. So what Ivy Clinicians did was map all of the specialties. So connect every emergency department in the United States. There are about 6,000 emergency departments in the United States. Connect every single one of them with their emergency medicine employer, the employer of the physicians, PAs, nurse practitioners at that emergency department, and then connect that with lots of data. So instead of on Zillow, it's bedrooms and bathrooms and geography and Zestimate and all that. On Ivy, the things that matter to emergency physicians are whether it's a trauma center, whether they're residents, whether it's critical access, how many patients do they see per year, what do other emergency physicians think about that department and that practice, and then take it to the next step, which is on Zillow, it helps you in various ways to actually, see the property and potentially even put a bid in for that property. Same thing with Ivy Clinicians. We have the contact information of all of the in-house recruiters, so that the direct, not having a third party involved, a direct connection between you and the in-house recruiter, so that you, the physician, can get a job with your preferred employer without anybody taking a cut in between. One of the analogies of getting a below market rate because of lack of information is the binary that now exists within emergency medicine, but this is true in most of medicine, where the private groups still kind of hold tight to how much their partners actually make, and the groups that have been bought out are posting their pay because physicians are just labor, right? Mm-hmm. And so labor to those employers, and usually there's like private equity or some other entity that owns that practice. So there are two layers of kind of information asymmetry that lead to problems within that ecosystem. One is that before Ivy Clinicians and before ways of transparently comparing salaries, because of the lack of salary transparency, you could have jobs that were 10 miles apart, and physicians would be making $100 an hour different, wow, even in a non-partnership, right? So doing exactly the same job. It's not like you have more ownership responsibility or something. It's just that one employer pays way more than the other, and people just don't know because there isn't transparency. Then there's the group versus labor model, mm-hmm, in medicine, where partly because the groups don't want to share, right? Like if you're a partner, like what's your incentive to go online and say, we make X amount of dollars? There are a number of incentives to not share that, especially since you're constantly as a group negotiating with insurers, and you're trying to get subsidies from hospitals, and hospitals can replace you with another group. Like you actually don't want to share that information at all because of these other entities trying to kind of take your stuff. And so what that has led to is non-owner physicians kind of getting rolled because they don't realize what the partners in medical practices are making, and they're not able to make nearly as much as they would if they were in a partnership, and they don't even realize it. And so there's a massive differentiation in pay in emergency medicine depending on your structure. So I think much like in real estate or investing, it's really important to know what you don't know, right? So I, as a physician, am really good at intubating and figuring out, what chest pain is dangerous and what chest pain is not dangerous. But that doesn't mean that I know how to code, right? Right? And so in order to build a software company, it was very clear that not only did I have to bring on a co-founder who understands how to turn ideas about a business into actual design and development, but also give my partner of the tools and the flexibility to run with what he knows, right? So my partner, my co-founder is Matt Simpson. He is phenomenal, and one of the things one of the reasons we work so well together is that I don't question his code, right? I'm not pretending to know what he knows. He doesn't pretend to know that he doesn't pretend that he's a doctor. And so if you trust each other and build kind of together, then you can create something great. And we really are proud of what we've created through allowing our team to really run with the thing that they're really good at.